Good morning, everybody. Black-Eyed Susan Friday, and an exciting weekend of racing we have in front of us. Unfortunately, the weather has not cooperated, but we will play the hand that we are dealt. John Stettin passed the wire from the War Room Studio office. As always, you get your pick, call it whatever you want, but we're here talking Sport of Kings and big weekend ahead, as I said. Before we get to that, and I'll be back later today with some talk on the Black-Eyed Susan, some of the supporting races, and definitely some of the races tomorrow. But before we get to that, I'm going to share another racetrack tale that I hope you like. I'm a little partial to this one, and I think with good reason. Definitely cause to be a little bit biased on my end. You know, you get to a point where you really don't care what people think about you and what people say about you. You really got nothing to prove anymore. And I'm way past that stage, but I do like when people talk about me to be accurate. So that said, I never named myself the Pick Six King. I've hit a lot of Pick Sixes, as people close to me know, but that was a name that was given to me by my dad, who was not only my dad, he was my best friend, and we were very close. Spent many days at the racetrack together. Very tough when I lost him to even go to the racetrack without him, because we had just had so many days there and so many memories there that it was very tough for me. And the same thing for my mom. My mom, in the end, she used to come and had to carry a little portable oxygen tank because she needed it to breathe right. But it never slowed her up from coming to the racetrack. Saturday morning, my phone would ring. We going, you're picking us up. And, I had got them in my old condo on the beach in Pompano. I was over on Hillsborough Mall. Used to pick them up on our way to Gulfstream. It was a perfect setup. We loved it. Now, back then, when I used to bet the pick sixes, it was my main bet. And, the New York pools used to get 100, 125 in the pool a day when there was no carryover, a lot more when there was a carryover. And, Gulfstream never got that much, but on a carryover day, it got a little bit respectable during the winter meet. They ran it colder in the summertime back then, and their pick six was really nothing. I don't even remember if they had one at that point. But at the old Gulfstream, if you remember it, when you walked in, to the right, there was the trackside restaurant, and there was a little enclave of tables raised up behind the maitre d' stand, and that's where I sat every day. That was my table. If I didn't show up by the 7th race and there were no tables in the house, you couldn't get my table because John, quote, might show up. So that was our table. They took very good care of us. We had it every day, and that was like kind of like the office. And, things were different. We grew up, it was tough. There were days we didn't know where we were going to get the money to bet the pick six, let alone hit one. So, hitting them for six figures, and the biggest one I ever hit, 540,000, 545,000 actually. That was huge to us. I grew up in what a lot of you people would call a tenement. Not that there's anything wrong or bad with it, but it is what it is. So, things changed, and all of that was really the result of racing. That aside, my dad gave me that name after a very nice pick six win. That's a story for another day. But this particular pick six I want to tell you about is very near and dear to my heart because of what happened with my mom at the end. Now, in that little enclave where we sat, Murray Durst had a table. My good friend Joe from Buffalo, may he rest in peace, had another table. And then there were, maybe 2 or 3 other tables that they would give out to people who showed up. And Pete Rose used to sit there a lot. We had a lot of fun with him too. That was my spot. Now, outside on the first floor of the clubhouse, I used to bet with two young lady tellers that was very friendly with, that faced the racetrack. On the backside, facing the paddock, at the very first window, I think it was a $50 window, there was a lady named Jean tall, slim lady with black hair, and I used to bet with her a lot. And I always took care to tell us whether I won or lost. So they all knew me and they all liked me. And, you know, she was a fast puncher. She used to punch the tickets with her pencil or pen. And I would be, Gene, slow down. You're getting ahead of me. Because she'd be punching numbers before I said with. Or if I was saying 3, 4 with 7, 8, 9, 10, she'd be on the 10 before I said. And I'd be like, what if I don't use the 10? Stop. And we used to laugh, have a lot of fun. Anyway, this particular day, there was a carryover at Gulfstream, bet the pick six. Was alive in the last 2 legs. I believe Tom Durkin was the announcer back then. In the next to last leg, which was a 1 3/8 race on the grass, I had the favorite, who I don't remember who it was, but I also had a horse I believe named Unite's Big Red that Jorge Chavez was riding, and he won the race. And he was a big price. He was 15, 20, 25 to 1, something like that. And those were the only 2 I had, him and the favorite. So now I'm alive in the last leg, and back then they didn't tell you the payoffs. They didn't show the payoffs of the pick six. They showed them for every other wager, but not the pick six. So I knew I was alive nice, especially with that horse, but I had no idea for how much money. So in the last race, I had my single, my 1 single on the ticket. Ticket was about a $400 or $500 ticket. My single was a filly, and we can probably figure out what year this was, and it was a while ago, admittedly so. She won the Oaks later that year, but this was before the Oaks and before anybody really knew how good she was. I'm alive with the single, and her name is Secret Status. Pat Day is riding her, and it was a Will Farish Lanes End Farm horse. I believe Neil Howard was the trainer, but I can't swear to that. My memory is not what it used to be. But anyway, I'm alive with her as a single, and she wins easy. So I go outside ready to cash my ticket, very excited, not knowing what it's going to pay. So I'm waiting for them to put the payoff on the screen. But you know how sometimes it's a little delayed, they're not putting it up. But I hear Tom Durkin, or whoever the announcer was, but I believe it was Durkin back then, saying, and there was 1 winner of the pick six today. So cha-ching, I knew it was me. Okay, beautiful. Obviously, I knew who it was. So winds up paying $126,000. So not a bad day's pay. I go to Gene at that first little window to cash the ticket. Now back then, my car used to get backed up to the clubhouse entrance by Ray, who ran the valet stand. And it didn't matter if Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, or the President of the United States showed up. My car was always the first one backed up to that door. Wasn't even sideways, pulling in. It was backed up for me to get in and hit the road. So that's where my car was. I told my mom and dad, you guys go, wait in the car, and I'll go get the money. So I go to Jean, and she runs the ticket through. Oh, congratulations. She's all happy. The place is starting empty. I says, I gotta order the money for you. Like, no problem. So she orders the money. They bring it up. I look out of my eye, at my peripheral vision. I see my mom and dad didn't listen and go to the car. They're standing over near the door, watching, making sure I'm okay. Big boy, but you know how parents are. Now, Gene counts out all the money, takes a while. The place is emptying out now. And the Hallandale Beach police officer sees that there's somebody collecting some money, and he comes over, and he's just standing, keeping his distance, watching, making sure that everything is okay and copacetic, which it absolutely was. Now, she gets all the money together, and it's like 100,000. I think after taxes and everything it was 110, 115,000. I don't remember. It was over 100. And she gets it all together, stacks 10,000. She goes, let me see if I can find your bag. And it was a little office or closet behind her window. And she goes in there and she comes out with a Publix bag, one of those plastic bags, all ripped up, disheveled, dusty bag. She puts the money in there. She goes, is that okay? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I go to leave. The Hallandale Beach cop comes over to me and says, listen, I'll walk you to your car. No, that's not necessary. So I give Gene a couple of $100. There were a few tellers straggling around, counting out their money still there. I gave all them $100. I tell the cop, no, I'm fine. That's okay. I got it. He goes, no, I insist. And I'm like, okay. So he starts walking me out. And he's got his hand on his gun. So as we're walking, I see him with the hand on the gun. I say, what am I going to do? I take out a couple of $100. I give them to him. He walks us out. I see my mom give me dirty looks, and I can't understand why. We won, everything's great. Why is she giving me dirty looks? I don't know. We get outside. Ray, the valet guy's there, a couple of guys there. Ray gets a couple of $100. All the other valet guys get $100. Bing, 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 bing. I had to give out $1,500, $2,000, whatever it was. What's the difference at that point, right? So We get in the car, the Hallandale Beach cop says, be careful on the ride home. It doesn't look like anybody's following you. Be careful. You got a cell phone? Yeah, don't worry. I'm like, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So we get in the car, and I'm driving out, and my mom is giving me a look. Now, I'm sitting here. My mom is sitting in the passenger seat. My dad's in the back. That's how we rode back then. So my dad's happy as can be. And my mom is, she doesn't look happy. She's gonna be little. I'm like, what's the matter? She goes, you gotta be a big shot. That hard Calibre's head of yours, you gotta be a big shot. I'm like, wow, what's the matter? Because giving money out all over the place. Everybody's looking at you giving money out. Somebody could follow us and rob us now because you gotta be a big shot and show everybody that you won. And I'm like, Mom, relax, all right? Are you kidding me? And I look at her and she's like, don't tell me to relax. You're a big shot you gotta be. I'm like, I wasn't being a big shot. I was just doing the right thing. She goes, you gotta be a big shot. You gotta keep a low profile. What's the matter with you? I'm like, Mom, listen to me. Hear me out. We're leaving the racetrack 40 minutes after the last race, standing at the $50 window, counting money for 20 minutes. We leave with a plastic bag stuffed with a Hallandale Beach cop with his hand on his gun. Trust me, whether I gave out any money or not, anybody looking at us knows we had a really good day. And she just looked at me and started laughing, and I started cracking up, and it was just a great memory, and it, near and dear to my heart. We had a lot of great memories, and that was certainly one of them, and I just thought I'd share it with you. I think anybody looking at us knew we had a really good day that day, whether we gave out any money or not. But that's how we were, and it was a fun story. Hope you liked it. And that said, work to be done. We'll get to work now and be back with some thoughts on some of the key races today and for the rest of the weekend. So enjoy, everybody. Stay dry if you're at Pimlico, and ciao for now.